The world of Formula One has been shaken once again by heartbreaking news from the Ferrari garage. Lewis Hamilton's situation, which had seemed full of confidence and hope, has entered a surprising new phase. New evidence has finally come to light, revealing a reality far from the rosy picture previously presented to the public. What is really going on behind the scenes at Ferrari? Will these findings change the course of Lewis Hamilton's future with Formula One's most legendary team? Let's discuss it. Hamilton's debut season with Ferrari seemed like an undeniable failure. The seven-time world champion struggled to adapt to the SF25, which never meshed well with his driving style. The public narrative quickly formed. Hamilton was lost, Ferrari made a wrong move, and the collaboration was doomed from the start. The statistics reinforced this impression. Throughout the 2025 season, Hamilton achieved only one sprint victory in China and failed to secure a podium finish in any major race. He lacked consistency at the front, while Charles Leclerc was able to extract maximum performance from the same car. The most graphic illustration of the world champion's difficulties were the 3 Q1 exits at the end of the season. The situation escalated when Ferrari chairman John Elkann publicly made comments insinuating that drivers should talk less. These remarks were quickly attributed to Hamilton, which reinforced the perception that he was a troubled figure who could potentially disrupt the team's internal stability. In the public eye, Hamilton seemed to be the face of Ferrari's frustration. His body language in the paddock, emotional radio communications, and post-race statements painted a picture of a fractured and nearly irreparable relationship. However, that image began to crumble when voices from within Ferrari finally emerged. Teo Tognali, the head of track engineering at Ferrari, offered a different perspective. He argued that the external narrative had exaggerated the tensions and downplayed the progress being made behind the scenes. Tognali emphasised that Hamilton came to Ferrari after spending more than a decade in a very specific ecosystem at Mercedes. He was surrounded by people who intuitively understood his habits, language, and technical needs. Rebuilding such an ecosystem with a new team in less than a season was a huge challenge, especially since Ferrari failed to provide a car capable of winning races. Internally, Hamilton's frustration was not viewed as a sign of dysfunction. On the contrary, it was considered a natural response for a driver who arrived with the goal of winning the World Championship, but was given an inconsistent, unpredictable car with poor qualifying performance. Tognali emphasised that Hamilton's working relationship with the engineers actually improved as the season progressed. The tension seen in front of the cameras was largely fuelled by the winless season and the enormous expectations always attached to Lewis Hamilton's name. Instead of withdrawing, Hamilton reportedly increased his involvement. He documented technical issues, proposed structural changes, and provided detailed input based on his years with Mercedes. For Ferrari, this contribution was invaluable. Although Hamilton's input was not capable of producing an instant performance leap, it was seen as a long-term investment, especially in building the technical foundation for the next regulation era. Hamilton openly admitted that the ground effect era did not suit his strengths. He stated that he would not miss anything about this generation of cars. Outsiders read this statement as criticism of Ferrari. However, within the team, it was understood as an honest admission that this regulatory cycle had never favoured Hamilton's driving style. Thus, the 2025 season is seen as an almost inevitable transition phase, no matter how optimistic the initial projections. Amid the storm of public opinion, Ferrari team principal Frédéric Vasseur adopted a more defensive and calm stance toward his new driver. Vasseur believes that many assessments of Hamilton are overly influenced by emotion and short-term results. He believes that working with a driver of Hamilton's calibre requires time, trust, and stability. He emphasised that frustrations expressed on the radio or in interviews are not signs of a crisis, but part of the adaptation process between an elite driver and a large team with high expectations. Vasseur also emphasised that Hamilton holds himself and the team to extremely high standards. In his view, Hamilton's demands and pressure have helped Ferrari identify internal weaknesses that were previously hidden. Former Ferrari engineer Luigi Mazzola offered a different view. He delivered a sharp critique that shifted the spotlight from Hamilton to Ferrari's internal structure. According to Mazzola, the main problem is not driver adaptation, but rather an absence of clear technical direction for years. Mazzola believes that, even after several seasons under Vasseur's leadership, Ferrari has failed to establish a clear technical hierarchy and consistent development philosophy. In this context, Hamilton's difficulties are not an exception, but a symptom of a deeper problem. Mazzola asserts that a car capable of confusing a 7-time world champion indicates a structural problem. He asserted that it wasn't Hamilton who failed to unlock Ferrari's potential, but rather that Ferrari hadn't provided the framework to unlock Hamilton's potential. The criticism intensified when Mazzola highlighted the flawed development direction, including the focus on suspension. Evidence on the track supported this view. Updates throughout the 2025 season rarely had a significant impact and often created new balance issues. The real surprise, rarely seen from the outside, lies herein. Those within Ferrari asserted that the relationship with Lewis Hamilton was healthier than previously portrayed. Communication was increasingly open, trust was growing, and the adaptation process was progressing positively. This optimism was especially evident within Hamilton's inner circle. However, former engineers and internal figures familiar with Ferrari's long-standing dynamics issued warnings. They emphasized that, without a comprehensive structural overhaul from the decision-making process to consistency in technical direction, no driver, no matter how great, could truly shine to their full potential. These two realities can coexist. Hamilton can work well with the core team around him, while the organisation as a whole continues to struggle with finding rhythm, stability, and direction. What is clear is that Lewis Hamilton has not lost faith. He has dismissed retirement rumours and emphasised that his love for racing remains strong. His motivation and competitive spirit are still strong, even though he now faces a major challenge with Ferrari. Hamilton is now focused on the 2026 season, which he sees as an opportunity for a fresh start rather than a continuation of the old, problematic concept. During the winter break, he plans to refine Ferrari's technical approach and revamp internal working patterns to prepare for the new era of Formula One. Ferrari is now at a crucial crossroads in its illustrious history. They have one of the greatest drivers in Formula One history, who is fully committed, driven, and hungry for achievement. However, Ferrari is under immense pressure to prove that their potential, ambition, and reputation are not empty promises, but can translate into tangible performance and concrete results on the track. Will Tonali's internal optimism or Mazzola's structural warnings prove correct? The outcome will not only determine Lewis Hamilton's future at Ferrari, but also the direction of Ferrari in the new era of Formula One. Let us know your thoughts below.